families, East Ramapo families. We are so delighted you're joining us today for our first ever East Ramapo Family University session. My name is Ms. Iwaha, Ogechi Iwaha, Assistant Superintendent for Professional Development. Now, every Wednesday during the month of September, we will be hosting informational and potentially collaborative sessions geared towards helping our families navigate during this technology-rich school year. So these sessions, these family sessions, are designed specifically for families to gain confidence with these new technologies, as well as tips and help in engaging children, your children, in this year's school experience. Before we begin, we would like to have our superintendent, Dr. Raymond Giamartino, give a few words, and then we will turn it over to the capable hands of Ms. Lisa Perry and our Ed Tech team partners. So Dr. Giamartino.
Thank you, Ms. Iwaha. I appreciate the introduction. Good evening, families, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us for this first Family University event. You will find that Ms. Iwaha and her team have done an exceptional job in preparing a slide deck that will really inform your practices, inform your access to information on our students, your student in particular, and really provide you another tool. So I want to thank Ms. Iwaha and her team to the fullest extent, knowing that they have prepared an exceptional set of resources for you. So welcome and truly thank you for partnering with us on this very important work. Ms. Iwaha?
Thank you, Dr. Giamartino. And Ms. Perry, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. It's wonderful to see you at Family University. Tonight, we're going to go through accessing the student and parent portals. You'll see it's easy as 1, 2, 3. At the end, if we have questions, we'll take time to go through them. Please put your questions in the chat box and I'll be happy to follow up. So our learning target tonight, I can access the student portal and the parent portal by following 3 steps. The student portal, it allows high school students and elementary and middle school students to view schedules, attendance, progress reports, all sorts of information. The parent portal allows parents to review their children's information as well. Student portals are already set up for students, but parent portals need to be requested through a form. Let's go through the steps for each. Instructions can also be found through the Management Information Systems on the district webpage under Departments, so you can always follow up. The student portal accounts already exist. You pull up the student portal link, which is shown here, enter the username, which is the full student ID, which is 9 digits. So an example would be 000123456. All student IDs are preceded by 3 zeros, and then enter the password. The initial password is student 2019. So step 1, go to the student portal. You're going to notice that in the URL address, it says student portal. And on the web page, on the top left corner, it also says student portal. 2, enter the username, which is the student full ID, which is a 9-digit number. That's usually where people forget to put the preceding 3 zeros. So don't forget, it's a 9-digit number. And the initial password is student 2019, which the student will be prompted to change. A tip, when students change their password, make the new one something easy to remember, but hard for someone else to figure out. So for the student portal, if you have a problem with login, email ER-data, you'll see it right on your screen, provide your full name and student ID number, your password will be reset. Do know all emails receive a response. You'll hear back in about 3 days or less. It depends upon how busy it is. At the start of the year, it's very busy, so it might take longer. And please only send one note. We will get back to you. As every email receives a response, just let us get back to you as soon as we can, because we will. The parent portal accounts are requested with a form. To complete the form, you just need at least information from one child. All of your other children will automatically be associated with the portal. You need the full student ID, 1. Again, that's the 9-digit number. 2, you need the student grade level. 3, you need the portal link. Right here, you see the portal link says ESD Parent Portal, lyric.org. So again, in the URL, it says Parent Portal. At the top left side, it also says Parent Portal. That's how you know exactly where you are. Parents, if you have a problem with login, you can email er-data@ercsd.org as well. Provide the email associated with the parent portal account so the issue can be researched if you already have an account and can't log in, or if you need a password reset. Also provide a student ID number. Again, all emails will receive a response. You'll hear back in 3 workdays or less. If it's very busy, responses may take longer. And please only send one note. We will get back to you. On the MIS webpage, you'll see on the left-hand side that we have the eSchool Data Portals link. Videos are available in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. Let's take a look at that video now in English.
This tutorial is to provide parents and guardians with a step-by-step guide of how to access the Parent Portal. The eSchool Data Parent Portal is a cutting-edge communication tool designed to increase your involvement in your child's education using the power of information. As teachers make updates to the portal, parents will have instant online access to current and relevant information that will enhance your involvement in your child's academic career. First, you will go to the district website. Then press on Resources. As follows, scroll down and press on Parent Portal. Once you've reached to the Parent Portal homepage, please click on Parent Portal Registration. For step 1, fill out all information account on the form here, as follows. Once you are done with the first step, proceed to step 2. Please fill out your personal information with all of the stars indicating on which is necessary. Once done, please proceed to step 3, where we add your student information. If your household has more than one student, it is only necessary to register one child in this step. All other students in your household will automatically be attached to your portal's account. Once you are done, please press Finish. And once you have finished, a confirmation of your account will be sent to your email, then sent to the district for approval. It could take up to 48 hours for approval. Once your account is approved, an email will be sent with an activation link. Click on the link to verify your account. Then you can log in. The first time you log in, you must agree to the terms of use before proceeding. For additional registration information, please contact the district data coordinator. Thank you.
So that was put together by our wonderful students. As you can see, they did an excellent job. So to reiterate, it's 1, 2, 3. You're able to access the student and parent portals. So now we have a couple of minutes. I'm going to take a look at the chat. A question. eSchool states that students have email addresses. Secondary students will have access to emails. They'll get that information through their school. For loaner Chromebooks, please contact your school administration who will be able to assist. Another question. A parent says they can't log into platforms their son will be using. That could be because the year hasn't formally started. Resources may not be available until the beginning of the year. Another question about email information. For emails, they need to get that information from their teachers and their schools. For the student portal, please have your child send an email providing full name and student ID so that support can be provided. A question, when do we go to actual school? The first day of school is September 14th. Schools are starting to send out information and also following up with posting on their website, so you will receive more information. Yes, another parent asked, is the information the same in both portals? Yes, it is. It's just that you have a different view. For parents who have more than one child, it's very convenient to have a parent portal because you'll have all of your children listed through the one portal account, but it is the same information. Another question, where do we access student IDs? Student IDs are part of the student lunch number. They're also found on report cards and progress reports. If you don't have a student ID, you also can send the full student name and the date of birth to the email that was provided, and you can receive follow-up support. Question, how will students know to email that address? It's posted to the website. If they don't have an email, many students actually have been sending information through emails or using a parent's email so that they can follow up. When it says click if you forgot password, that doesn't work unless you've reset the email address. We have about 1 minute left. So if you have an incorrect spelling of your name, please follow up with central registration because registration supports any name changes or address changes. Parents will learn more about remote learning through your schools and through announcements that are being sent out. Yes, all students K through 12, all grades have student portals, so you do have access to that information. And yes, student emails will be the same as last semester. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. My time is up. I look forward to following up at another time. Bye.
Bye, Lisa. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Katia, and I am with EdTech team, and I will be here with you in the chat as Mary Ellen West presents tonight's session, and I will turn things over to Mary Ellen.
Hello and welcome, everyone. We are so excited that you are here to spend some time with us tonight. We are going to be talking about your Chromebooks, talking about getting access to those G Suite tools, how to use your Chromebooks, and then also how students can use Google Meet. So we'll jump in and start chatting about all of those things.
Mary Ellen, just one second, Mary Ellen.
Sure.
I just wanted to let all of you out there know that neither Mary Ellen nor myself, Katia, we are not from your school district. So if you have specific questions that are just about your school district, unfortunately, we're just not going to know the answers. Mary Ellen and I are both in Atlanta, Georgia, where we work with other school districts. And so we just unfortunately cannot answer any of those questions. But if it's anything in general about G Suite and the Chromebook itself, then yes, we are your people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katia. That was exactly the next thing that I was going to say in addition. So thank you so much for that. So we'll be jumping in again to Chromebooks, getting access to G Suite for students, and then we'll also be talking about students' use of Google Meet, which is a video conferencing tool, much like Zoom that we're using today. So we'll jump into those things. There will be some other sessions following up. So there will be a session specifically, 2 sessions about Schoology, and there will also be another session about G Suite later on. So this one is about Chromebooks and then about access and then about Google Meet. So if you have questions about those things, feel free to throw those into our chat. Again, if it's something specific to your school district, like when are you going to get a Chromebook, or your login not working, unfortunately, that's something that we won't be able to help with. I saw a question just pop up in the chat asking, what is G Suite? G Suite is Google for Education. So it is the suite of tools associated with Google for Education. It includes Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Meet, which we'll be talking about, and a lot of other tools as well. So if you do have questions, make sure and throw those in the chat. Katia is there to answer and will also interrupt me at any point in time if there's something that I should be showing you guys as well. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. All right. Okay. So we are going to jump in again and start talking about these items. I, again, am Mary Ellen West coming to you from Atlanta, but we will jump on ahead and hopefully get answers to as many of the questions that you all have as possible tonight. So talking about Chromebooks and Chromebooks that your district is providing for you. When we talk about Chromebooks, the question that I most often get is this a laptop? Is this just like a laptop computer that I would use while I'm at school if they're provided there, or as a parent that I might use or have at home or for work? And the answer is no, that a Chromebook isn't exactly like a laptop, although there are a lot of similarities. A Chromebook is a web browser, and it uses the Chrome operating system. So there aren't programs like Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint installed on those Chromebooks. What that helps with is that they boot up really, really, really quickly. What it also means is that to work its best, you're going to need access to Wi-Fi. And then you'll be able to use the Chromebook to access that portal, to access Schoology, and also to access G Suite for Education, which again is that suite of applications that has tools that are very similar to the Microsoft applications you might be familiar with. So when you receive your Chromebook, the first thing to note is that the keyboard is different than a computer or a laptop that you are used to using. So in order to power on the Chromebook, you're actually going to click or hold on this little power button. But that's only if it doesn't come on when you open it. So typically Chromebooks power on as soon as you open them. But if it doesn't, if nothing loads when you open the Chromebook, then this is the power button right here. The power, however, does not turn off just because you close the Chromebook. So you can use the on-screen options to power off, or again, use that button. I see that we have a lot of notifications popping up in the chat. Katia, is there anything that I should stop and pause for?
I don't think so. Just one more time reminding everyone that unfortunately we just cannot answer questions about district specific things. We just don't know the answers to those. We're not ignoring you, we just don't know.
Yeah, we don't know about the schedule for how things are going to work, and those sorts of things. So we'll move forward. We will talk a little bit about logging in. And I will say, one person asked if your child could use their own Chromebook. If you have a personally owned Chromebook, you can log on to that Chromebook with a district account. I was able to log on to one with a district account, so you will be able to do that. And I see a question, will students need a specific computer to log into their G Suite? No, they will be able to log on from another device. We just are talking a little bit more today specifically about Chromebooks. And yes, we'll talk about how to get access today, whether you're on a Chromebook or not. But the session is also intended to cover the use of Chromebooks and how those work. Wendy, you can use a laptop as well. You can use a laptop as well. Okay. Okay. So when you sign into a Chromebook, what you will notice is that things look a little bit different than they might on a laptop or a desktop computer. So you have items across the bottom of the screen, and when you hover over that bottom of the screen, you will see several little icons. You actually won't even have to hover, I'm sorry, but you'll see several little icons, and the second one over is ClassLink. So that's how the Chromebooks for your district are set up. You also, from another device, can simply go to ClassLink, and then you can, from the Chromebook, you can click on sign in with Google. Okay, so you have this single sign-on set up for students that they'll sign in through ClassLink, and that's going to allow them to be signed into Schoology and to their G Suite account. Okay, so once you sign in to that ClassLink, you will see this screen that is at the top, and from there, you'll be able to click straight into Schoology, okay, from a student account, or what we're talking more about today is going into Google Tools. So if you click on Google Tools, what will populate then on the screen is what you see here at the bottom. And this gives access to several different Google tools. So today we're going to talk about Google Meet a little bit. In another session, we'll be talking about Docs and some other tools. But know also that if you click on any of these, it's very easy then to navigate to any of the G Suite tools. Okay. We're not aware of what passwords are for the accounts. Only that this is what it looks like once you log in. So when you are in Chrome, if you are using Chrome, then which you will log into Chrome if you are on one of those district Chromebooks, you'll automatically be logged into Chrome in the student account. And then this screen is what opens when you open a new tab. When you first log in, on this screen, you'll also have the district website. Okay, so here across the top, this is a tab in Chrome, and if you need to open a new tab, you would click on this plus sign. Here, this is the Bookmarks bar. So anytime you're in Chrome, if you bookmark something by clicking on this little star, then it will be added to this bar. And what you'll see in your district account as a student, there is a folder here of pre-designed bookmarks. So if you click on that folder, there are a number of websites that are already bookmarked. So that's for quick, easy access to those different sites. As you visit sites, ones that you frequently visit may start to show up on this screen as well when you're on a new tab, and you can also add shortcuts here if you wish to. When you are in Chrome, if you are logged in, which on a Chromebook you are, then you will also see what we lovingly call the waffle here in the right-hand corner. And if you click on that, that then allows you to toggle between all of the different Google for Education, G Suite for Education, or Google applications. So if you are in one application and you want to go to another one, you can just click on that waffle and move to a different application. Here in the very top right corner is where you'll find things called extensions. And extensions are extra tools. It's like if you were wearing a tool belt because you're trying to get some things done around the house, but in this case around school, extensions are tools that you can pull out of that tool belt to use. And they're tools specifically for the Chrome browser. So there are a number of those that are pre-added to your student's account, and you will see those here. So these then could be clicked on and allow for some extra functionality. There are not a lot of them, and there are not a lot of others to go and be added for students, but there are a few of them there. So if teachers are mentioning Chrome extensions, they're talking about the tools that you see up here to the right-hand side of that URL bar. And students could just click on those in order for them to work. All right. Okay. So on your keyboard, again, for that Chromebook, again, you'll notice that some things are different than what you see on a typical laptop. So some of these are going to be really, really important. We talked about that power button. Here, where you're used to having a cap lock button, this is actually a search tool. So you can use that search function on a Chromebook right here at any point in time. You also across the top have the ability to adjust your brightness and adjust your volume. There is a refresh button here, which is going to be just like the refresh button you would see in the Chrome browser, just to make the page load again. There's a forward and back button to navigate to different pages, and then escape will most likely be used when you want to exit full screen or exit from something where you are currently. This is the mouse pad, and on a Chromebook, I think, and Katia, stop me if you disagree, I think you'll agree, just from Katia and I have known each other for a while, what I see most often with Chromebooks, with people having a hard time with the difference between a laptop they might be used to and a Chromebook, is that this keypad for this mouse pad works a little bit differently. So when you are scrolling on pages, sometimes you're going to notice that you're trying to scroll one way and it's going to go the opposite. And that is because of that direction function. And so just don't let that confuse you. It takes a little bit of time and you'll get used to it. The other thing to note is that if you need to right click on something, so on a normal mouse, we're used to having two different buttons. And if you're going to right click on something on a normal mouse, on this keypad, what you'll actually do is a 2-finger click. So it's kind of like a snake bite is what a lot of our friends call it, because you kind of line up your fingers and then you click with both at the same time. And that 2-finger click is the same as a right click in order to get a menu on a Chromebook. Now, if you have a hard time or your student has a hard time with that 2-finger click, if you hold down the Alt button right here and then you click, it will do the same thing. Okay. So again, that top menu bar, this diagram explains what all of those different things do, and we'll make sure that you have this presentation at the end of this as a resource as well. Okay, so that top menu bar is going to look different than what you're used to. You're not going to see all of those typical function keys. So these work just a little bit differently. Again, we talked briefly about that search button, but you can use that to search for different apps, for websites, and even for the answers to questions, much like you might ask Siri on your phone or another AI system that you have in your house. There are a lot of shortcuts also for Chromebooks that can be incredibly helpful. My favorite shortcut is actually the shortcut to see the shortcuts. So if you hold down the Control button on your keyboard, the Alt button as well, and press the question mark, you'll actually get the menu of all the different keyboard shortcuts. Because I think everybody uses different ones, but some of the favorites are listed here on the screen. But I think my ultimate favorite, again, is Control Alt question mark in order to get all of those different shortcuts to come up. I think the one I probably get asked about the most is taking a screenshot. So on that top bar, you will see one of the buttons that looks like this. And that is one that you can press in order to take the screenshot of the entire screen. So if you press Control and then you click on that button, that's the shortcut to take a screenshot. If you want just part of the screen, you hold Control, click Shift and hold that, and then click that same icon or button. We'll talk about where then those files end up being saved on the Chromebook as well. A delete button, there is a backspace button on the Chromebook. Oops, sorry. Okay, so once you log on to the Chromebook, again, you'll have some items kind of pre-populated on your screen. And these are going to be really, really important. You don't have a file menu or a finder menu if you're used to a Mac. Instead, what you have here on the far left is the launcher. So when you click on that circle icon, that's how you can access the different applications that have been loaded to that Chromebook. You'll also see across the bottom that there are apps that are already pinned. So these are applications that are also found under the launcher, but that have been pinned here to what's called the shelf at the bottom of the screen. So again, that's to have the easiest possible access to those. On the screen itself, you can actually click and hold on the screen. Just click on the mouse pad and hold on that touchpad, and you can reposition the shelf. So there are a couple of different things that you can do from here, but I think the one that is probably most applicable is that if you don't want your shelf down there at the bottom, you do have an option to move it to the side. And the last thing on the main screen of the Chromebook that is really important, it actually looks like it's not anything, but down here on the right-hand side, where you see a little icon indicating if you have a Wi-Fi signal and you have an indicator of your battery level, you also have the time. But this is also a button. So if you click on that, that is how you log off of the Chromebook, and it's also how you can access your settings and accessibility features. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about that launcher first. So from the bottom of the Chromebook, if you click on that kind of dot icon, that circle on the far left, you'll get a small menu that pops up. From here, you can do a search and you'll see a few different applications. But if you click on the up arrow, you'll see all of the different applications that have been loaded and are available on that Chromebook. Now, this screenshot is going to look a little bit different than the ones that you all have because different districts set up different applications to be available on the Chromebooks. But you will, when you click on that upward facing arrow, you'll see the full menu of items that are available. So then, that was one, that circle. Two, the second thing is that upward arrow. And then the third thing that you would do is to click on whatever application it is that you wanted to open. If you want one of the applications to be pinned to the shelf and it wasn't already there, you can use that 2-finger click or that Alt click and then choose the option to pin to shelf and have that application be on the shelf all the time. If you are needing to access things that you have saved to the Chromebook, like you've taken a screenshot or you've downloaded something to the Chromebook, that's going to be in the Files application. So when you click on that launcher and then that upward arrow, if you click into Files, then you'll see all of those different items that have been saved to the Chromebook. You'll also see items that have been saved to your Google Drive. And remember, Google Drive is just one of the suite of applications for G Suite for Education, Google for Education, but Drive is kind of your storage space. So that's where from the web, you can access all of those different files. And from a Chromebook, you can jump straight into Drive, but you can also go to Files and access items saved both in your Drive and to the Chromebook itself. So briefly, again, if you want to pin apps to the shelf, you click on that launcher button, and then you right-click or 2-finger click on a Chromebook and select Pin to Shelf. Know that you can also make folders in that launch menu by clicking and dragging apps on top of one another to put them in kind of a group. If there's a website that you want to pin to the shelf, you can open it and then from the Chrome menu, choose to create a shortcut. And then you would be able to add that website as being pinned as well. Okay, so just another quick reminder, we're so sorry guys, but as far as when students can pick up Chromebooks, we're not from the district and we don't have the answers to those specific district questions. When you go to that Files menu, you will see again all of those different files. So if I had taken a screenshot, it would be under Images. If I had recorded a video, that would be under Videos. And then you'll see under My Files where you have downloads, and you can also access files from Google Drive. To open one of these, all you'd have to do is double click on it. Okay. The control key and S will also save a file if there is an image or other type of file that you need to save to that Chromebook. If you're working in Google Drive though, and you're using a Google file type, it's actually already saved automatically. There is no chance of losing it because it just saves constantly, continuously without having to do anything. Okay, so let's jump in to settings on your Chromebook. So remember we talked about clicking down here where you see a Wi-Fi indication, battery indication, and the time. When you click there, you will see this small menu pop up. Here you can change your Wi-Fi settings. You can turn Bluetooth on and off, adjust notifications, and you can also adjust your brightness. If you need to sign out of the Chromebook, you can simply click here on Sign Out. To completely power off the Chromebook, that would be the power button right next to Sign Out. But what we really want to jump into are some of the settings. So within a Chromebook, there are lots of different things that you can customize. Now, if you have your own Chromebook and you're signed into it with a personal account, there will be even more that you can customize. But in your district account, you'll notice that some things are managed by the district while others the student can control themselves. So again, to get to those settings, you click down here where you see the time and other indicators. And then from this pop-up menu, you're going to click on the little gear for settings. If you're a keyboard shortcut kind of a person, it's Alt, Shift, and then S. So hold Alt and Shift and click S, and you'll also go into those settings. So here you'll see lots of different options. If you really don't like the way that the scrolling happens on a Chromebook, you can actually go into Touchpad and manage it so that it works like what you're used to, if you try it for a while and it's just not working for you. You can also adjust short keys under keyboard. You can even make that search button go back into being a cap lock button if that's really what you want and what you're used to. And then all kinds of other options with, you know, your displays and power and whatnot. So lots and lots of different options in those settings, in that settings menu. Now, one that I think is really, really important is accessibility tools. So if you scroll down and you go into the advanced tools within settings, you will notice that accessibility is one of the options that you see there. One thing that I love to do is to just toggle on show accessibility options in the system menu. Here's what that means. It means that when you click here, accessibility is going to be right up here as well. So it would be a much quicker access to those accessibility tools if you do that. Okay, so that's toggling on this top part, always show accessibility options in the system menu. Beneath that, you'll see manage accessibility features. And if you click there, then you'll go into all of the different accessibility tools that are options. And there are a lot of them. These are incredibly powerful. Once you have toggled one on, it will actually appear down here on the shelf, and you'll be able to click on and off of it to enable it or disable it. Some of those include, you know, enlarging the screen or enlarging part of the screen where the mouse is moved. There's also one for text to be spoken aloud. So if your student needs to hear that text spoken as opposed to just seeing something on the screen, that's an accessibility feature that can be turned on. And there's also one for text, for speech to text. And to me, that one that's the keeper. That might be because I have a son with an individualized education plan who needs that accessibility. So it would make sense that that one is the kind of the best and brightest to me. But what I love about that is that then even in tools where speech to text is not a functioning option, with the Chromebook, it's enabled. So for example, if you have ever heard of Google Slides, it's a slideshow tool, it's a presentation tool, and it only has speech to text in the notes section. But if you have this accessibility feature enabled, then a student could put their cursor in a text box and click on that tool in the shelf, and then speak and have their words go into that text box. It works with other tools as well, pretty much anywhere that a student would need to be able to type. So that one to me is really, really powerful. Let's check out questions really quickly. Writing on documents that teachers send out via Google Docs. So if teachers send out a document and have it make a copy for the students, then they certainly can type on it or use that speech to text option in order to add to it and kind of type on it with their voice as well. If you're asking if a student can physically write on it using a Chromebook, that is going to depend on a lot more factors. So the type of Chromebook and other devices that are enabled. There's a question in our chat about that says, can we have a student and parent portal tutorial at the end of this? Unfortunately, we don't have access to your student or parent portal. They did review that at the very beginning of this session. And certainly you can ask, I guess, if that recording will be made available, or if another session might be available for that. And if you do not have a Chromebook, right now we're talking about Chromebooks specifically, but we'll also talk about, so when we were talking about the Chrome browser, that's applicable on any device. And then when we jump into Google Meet here in a few minutes, that will also be for any device. The sessions after this one in coming weeks, we'll get into more detail about specific tools as well. If you do have a question about any of those tools, though, we're certainly happy to try to jump in and answer anything that we can today as well. All right. Okay. I'm actually going to stop sharing on this screen and jump over onto a Chromebook that is logged into your district account, or an account within your district, I mean, so that we can look a little bit more at how exactly that looks for your district account. Anna asked, when will students be contacted about Chromebook distribution? Honestly, again, because we're not in the district, we are not aware of those dates. Benjamin, if you want to give a little more detail about your question, I'd be happy to try to answer it. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by would we have in-school classes. If you're talking about specific to the district, if you'll have face-to-face classes, that we're not familiar with either.
Mary Ellen, there is a principal, maybe two principals that are also trying their best to answer questions in the chat.
Oh, perfect, in the chat. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so I'll just stick with the ones that we know we can answer then. All right, I'm going to share on another screen. Okay. So when you log on to the Chromebook, this is the screen where you will be taken. So this screen, again, has the district website, and from there you can access all of the resources that you are used to accessing from that site. So it works just like the website would work from anywhere else. These other tabs I have opened, but you will not already have those open. You will be able to click on the plus sign to open a new tab in Chrome. And from there, again, be able to access those tools that we were talking about a little while ago. So the bookmarks that are already saved and already bookmarked are here. And so you can get really quick, easy access into these different sites that are pre-bookmarked within the district. You can't remove this folder and you can't remove these bookmarks. However, if there is another site that you would like to add to your bookmarks, if you navigate in your tabs to another site, anything in Chrome, anything on the web, you can click on this star and then it will be added to your bookmark bar here along with the district ones that were already there. Okay. You also, again, have those different extensions that are here and available for use. And if you click on the little puzzle piece here, you'll actually see that there might be even more extensions. We're not going to jump into exactly what these different extensions do, but again, if teachers mention extensions, this is what they're talking about, are these tools that are here next to that URL bar. Down at the bottom of the screen, again, you have these applications that have already been pinned. So this first one is Chrome. That's what we're already using. So that's the web browser that you're using when you're on the Chromebook. This second one is ClassLink. So that takes you directly to that ClassLink logon screen. So if I click on that, it is actually going to open a different window with the single sign-on for ClassLink, where I can then click sign in with Google. And because I'm already logged on to this Chromebook, it already knows the Google account. So from here, again, I can access all of these different tools provided by the district. Schoology is where you're going to find your assignments from teachers. Google Tools will take you to another screen where you can then access all of these different tools from Google for Education. Okay. Again, other applications are here at the bottom of the screen as well, already pinned to the shelf. If you need an application on the Chromebook that's not already here, remember those are under the launcher. So if I click on that launcher, remember I get this smaller menu. And if I click on that upward facing arrow, then I can come in to the other applications that have been made available on this district Chromebook. Even if you're logged into a personally owned Chromebook with your account from the district, you're going to find the applications that are available from the district. Remember that files is where I will then find any files that I have downloaded. Here under downloads, or screenshots that I have taken would be found under images. And I can also access anything that I have saved to my Google Drive from here. Okay. Remember that this menu on the right-hand side is where I would go to sign out or power off, and also to get into my settings. So if you click on that little gear for settings, you will find all of the different settings that are available. So there's tons of things here, and you will be able to scroll down to see all of them. Now the menu we were talking about briefly before is under device. So touchpad is where you can go in and change, which direction the touchpad moves as you scroll, if you're trying to make it work more like what you're used to. And you can also adjust that speed with it, so that, if you have a student who just, moves really, really fast, you can adjust that so that the screen doesn't just start flying and going everywhere. When you see this little building, that indicates that it is being determined by the district. So for example, the wallpaper on the kind of the background of the Chromebook, that's something that's being controlled by the district. So it's something you wouldn't be able to manage yourself. But as long as you don't see that little building, then that means it is something that you can manage and control yourself. Okay? So remember when I clicked into advanced, this is where I will be able to scroll down and find accessibility features. So right here. Now, if all of that scrolling and moving around is too much, keep in mind you can always search the settings here to get exactly what you want. If I click on accessibility, you can toggle on, again, seeing that always being an option in the system's menu. So you see here, I see accessibility all the time, so I don't have to go back into all the settings. And then Also from here, this is where I can turn on those different accessibility features. So there are keyboard accessibility features, mouse and touchpad ones, audio ones, display, and again, that text to speech was one of the ones that I specifically talked about as being incredibly helpful for my family. But certainly look through and determine if there's something that specifically is going to be helpful for your student. Okay, so those are those accessibility features. All right. Katia, are we doing well with questions?
Yes, and luckily Lisa Perry jumped back on, so she's
Great.
also trying to answer some questions.
Great. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. That's wonderful. I'm so glad that they can get their questions answered. Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about is Google Meet, which is the video conferencing tool offered by Google. So a lot like Zoom that we're in right now, but with some slight differences. So teachers might give students a direct link to a Meet session, much like you found the link for this Zoom. Students can also click here on what I call the waffle, that Google Apps launcher, and just like they can go to other Google apps from here, they can click into Google Meet. One thing you'll notice if they go straight to here, it says use a meeting code. What that means is that a student could click and type in a code provided by the teacher to join a Google Meet, but they wouldn't actually be able to create a Meet link themselves. So students can't create the links for video conferencing. They have to use the directions given by the teacher. So again, that could be typing in the join code that a teacher gives here, or going directly to the link that is provided for the student from the teacher. Okay. I am going to switch back to my other screen now where I'm not in as a student, so that I will be able to go ahead and launch a Google Meet. All right. So once a student goes to a Meet, what they will get is a screen much like this. So whether they type in that code provided by a teacher or they go directly to a link provided by the teacher, they're going to get a preview menu here of their the webcam and what it's seeing. And here, if you don't want that webcam turned on, you can always turn it off. And here the microphone can be turned off as well. So this is turning the microphone on and off, and this is turning the camera on and off. I went ahead and turned those off just so we wouldn't have feedback and with multiple cameras and microphones happening. When the student is ready to join the Google Meet, you're just gonna click here on Join Now. Right? So this is what the screen looks like in a Google Meet. Here in the middle, much like you have in our Zoom, will be the people who are part of that Meet. But there are a few buttons that are going to be really, really important for students when they are using Google Meet. So down here at the bottom of the screen, in the middle, you'll see 3 different buttons. 2 of those we already talked about. One of them is that microphone. So that is to mute and unmute. So if a student needs to speak, they would click on that button to unmute, and then everyone would be able to hear them. And then they would click on it again in order to mute themselves. What we often see is that if every single student in a class is unmuted, there's a lot of extra noise with, dogs and other pets and family members. And so I know in my district, we ask students to mute until they need to talk, just so there's not all of that extra noise. So it's important to know how to do that. And then again, that camera, right, turns the camera on so that people can see them, or turns the camera off. Now, when they have the camera off, that doesn't mean that they're only going to see their little icon. They're going to see the other people who are in the Google Meet. The camera icon actually allows the other people in the Meet to see the student. The button in the middle is to hang up. So that means if you click that, you leave. You're no longer in the Google Meet. So be aware that that one, although it's a telephone and might seem like it is for hearing or for the speaker, it's actually to hang up. Also across the bottom, you have the option to turn on captions. So if you have a student who is needs to see those words across the screen in addition to being able to hear them, they can simply click on turn on captions. And then as people talk, the words will actually appear on the screen, whether it be your student or anyone else. So that's a really powerful button. The teacher does not have the ability to turn that on for your student in Meet. They can turn it on in a presentation that they're presenting, but not in Meet itself. So each individual turns those captions on or off by clicking on this button. If the teacher asks your student to present their screen or show their work to the class, they would use the Present Now button, and then they have to choose what they're going to present. If they choose entire screen, that means no matter where they go, every single thing is going to show up and be visible to the rest of the class. If they choose a window, that means anything they do within that application will show up to the class. But if I were to pull up something completely different, then it would not show for the rest of the class. And then a Chrome tab is only going to show one tab in Google Chrome. Now, here's the thing I see happen most often. People click on your entire screen or any of the others, and then they try to click share. And then I get a lot of phone calls that say, my student said that it won't let them share. Well, that's because you still have to select what you're going to share. So first you choose entire screen, window, or tab, and then you have to pick from what's here. Even if there's only one screen, you still have to click on it and then click share. Otherwise, it's not that share button is not going to be available. It is going to be grayed out. When you are ready to stop presenting, you can just click on stop presenting. Now, this is not, probably going to be there when you move to another window or application, but you will have a stop sharing option on your screen. On the far right in Google Meet are the three dots that anytime you're in any application in G Suite, if you see those three dots, click on them. You're not going to break anything. It just gives you more options. So if I click there, there are a lot of features that are important. If you're having trouble with audio or video, you want to go into the settings and check and make sure that for audio, the microphone is one that is connected and works. And you can always switch to a different one if you need to. If my microphone was turned on, I would also have a test option. The same thing for speakers. A lot of times I see students not on Chromebooks, but on other devices, and they have a speaker chosen that was chosen by default, but it's something that doesn't actually have a speaker. And that can be true for microphone as well. If a student is wearing headphones that don't have a microphone, it might by default pick the headphones as the microphone. So it's always good to come in here and check. Same thing for video. You can adjust which camera if you have more than one camera connected to your device. I don't recommend messing too much with these resolutions. The higher the resolution, the more kind of traffic, the harder your device is trying to work. And so it might slow things down and cause a delay in video or in audio. Under general, right now it just says additional diagnostics to help improve this product. I will say that coming soon, you're going to have the ability in these settings to blur your background and to have some other features as well. So there are some things coming in Meet that are not here quite yet, but they are coming this month. So being able to blur your background and some other great features as well. Also under these three dots, if you click on change layout, here by default, it probably is going to be on auto, which means depending on what's happening, the artificial intelligence built into Google Meet is going to determine which layout it thinks that you want. However, you might not always want whatever that AI thinks. So you have options here to switch your layout. Spotlight is going to give the option to focus on the speaker. So if the student needs to stay focused on the teacher and on what the teacher is saying, then you're going to want to choose Spotlight. Sidebar is going to have the main speaker or the shared screen large and then have a few other people in the session down the side. And tiled is going to show as many people as possible on the screen at once. So you can always go in and change your layout. It doesn't have to be what Google's AI thinks automatically is important. It can be exactly what you want at all times. All right, and then also important in Google Meet are these options here across the top. So the first one where you see kind of the little profiles, this is the participant list. So here you can see all of the different people that are listed in that Google Meet. Now be aware, if your student has a lot of background noise, like I'm starting to have because my dog just started barking and I apologize, the teacher can come in here and mute your student. Now they don't have the ability to go into this list and unmute. So that's why knowing how to unmute with that bottom button is really important. The other thing that the teacher can do from this participant list is to kick a student out. So if your student says, I don't know, I just got kicked out of the Meet. I mean, Wi-Fi could go out, but outside of that, there's a possibility that the teacher removed the student. And so that might be something to have a conversation with the teacher about with what might have happened. Also here is the chat. So I can click in to that people icon and then switch to the chat, or I also could just click on this chat icon. From here, everything that people say in this Google Meet will appear in this list. And so if I need to type, I was excited about our homework last night. Aren't you guys always excited about homework? All you have to do is put your cursor, type, and then click enter, and what you said goes into the conversation. Now be aware that teachers have the ability to record their sessions and the chat will be recorded as well. So do understand that that is going to be recorded. Now, one of the features coming soon is that teachers will be able to determine whether or not students can use this chat feature. So it's a great tool for a question and answer. It's a great tool for teachers to be able to do a quick check-in with students. But it also might be something that a teacher determines might be a distraction for a particular class or purpose, and they might disable that feature for specific classes. One thing that I always think is fun, and I always encourage teachers to use with students, is that you actually in this chat can use emojis. So if a teacher doesn't want a student to, certainly don't, but it can be a lot of fun. So I like to ask students, hey, how are you feeling about coming into class today, where we are with yesterday's learning, and are you ready for today? And answer with an emoji. So if students right click, or remember on a Chromebook, it's 2 fingers, that 2-finger click, you can choose emojis and symbols, and a keyboard pops up that just came on my other screen. So I'm going to bring it back down, and you're able to click on it and add that emoji to the discussion there in the chat. So again, that chat feature works much like the chat that we are using here in Zoom. Now, there are a few features that are not available in Meet that you see in Zoom with, who all you can ask questions of, what you are able to do as part of that Meet session. But do know that more of those features are currently being worked on and released and are coming up in Google Meet. All right, let's check on our questions.
We have about 3 minutes left, Mary Ellen, and I am going to go ahead and put the evaluation link in the chat now as you wrap up.
Perfect, perfect. So I am going to answer any questions that I can in those last few minutes, and also want to make sure that I give you the link to the presentation, because it does have a whole nother slide at the end with resources, links to other things that you can use. So there is a student guide to using Google Meet that you are welcome to use and share with students. And also, so now you've got 2 things there. I apologize for doing that right at the same time, Katia. So the first link there from me is the slides. So it's got all the screenshots that we saw, as well as all of the extra help both from Google and some from me that I created in the last slide of that presentation. And then you have that evaluation link there as well. All right. I don't know of exactly what was happening with the person that you had some audio issues, and having to exit and go back in. Outside of what you were using for audio, were you using the default audio that's built into the Chromebook, or were you using an external device? The biggest thing that I see happen is that it will auto switch. Again, if you're wearing headphones, it will try to pull that microphone even if there's not a microphone. So I would go into the settings and check and see what it's using. All right. Using a default in the Chromebook. So there's a possibility that there could be an issue with the audio on the Chromebook. I would certainly try connecting an external headset, maybe one that has a mic included, and see if that resolves that issue. All right, so again, yes, I apologize that there were so many links at the same time, but there is a quick evaluation and also the slides for this presentation. So Katia has thrown those both in again, this time with some labels. And then I see we've had some questions about parent and student portal that your district personnel are working to answer. All right. If there are any questions about Chromebooks or about Google Meet that I missed in the chat or haven't answered, feel free to throw those in again. And remember that there will be more sessions following in coming weeks to help you with Schoology and also with all of the tools included in G Suite for Education. All right. So if there are any last minute questions, feel free to throw those in the chat, and we will be starting to wrap up. Class link, it should be a link that is available. So if you're on a Chromebook, it is again down there on the shelf. But if you're on a Windows device, you should just be able to navigate to class link via the link that I believe would be from your portals. I don't know if any of our district personnel want to unmute and answer about usernames and passwords or about student schedules. Oh, there.
Yes, hi. Hi,
yeah, thank you.
You guys can't see me because I'm on two different Zoom links. So pretty much for the parent portal, just so everyone knows, the student portal, you may be able to find your child's schedules. So to go into the portal, you're going to go into the district website. I actually put the link in the chat. You can click on the link there, or you can actually go to the district website. You're going to go to Departments, Management, Information Systems, and then you're going to go down to where it says Student Portal. Once you click on the portal, you're going to put your child's ID number. Everybody's ID number is going to start with 000 first, then the 6-digit ID. So you're going to put 000 1 2 3 4 5 6 if that was my ID number. Okay. Your password, if you have never gone into your student portal, is going to be student, all lowercase, 2019. You do not have to register for the student portal. It's already there. The only thing that you have to request access to is the parent portal. So if you get the parent portal, you have to send an email to er-data at ercsd.com and make sure you provide one child's ID number, and they will go ahead and they will link you and you will get all your child's information. But if you're just trying to get student schedules, you may be able to do it there. Just to give you guys fair warning, the students that I think that are from K6, I'm not sure if their schedules are there, but you guys can go ahead and check. And if they're not there, definitely communicate with your child's buildings. They will be able to give you more specific information about your child's schedule. The school supplies are already up on the websites. You can go into your child's school and they already have all that information in there. To be able to get to the portal, once again, you're going to go to the district website. You're going to go to departments. From departments, you're going to scroll down to Management Information Systems. Then from Management Information Systems, you're going to click on Student Portal Accounts. Okay, once you get in there, you're going to see that's going to give you a link. You're going to click on that link. Again, your username is going to be 000 zeros. Your student ID number, the 6-digit student ID number. Your password is student, all lowercase, 2019. If you're putting anything else, that's probably why you might be getting an error. So hopefully, yeah, just make sure it's 2019. If your son's password needs to be reset, you do have to send an email to er-data at ercsd.org, and they will go ahead and get back to you. Just to let you guys know, it does take a little while to be able to get a response. It might take up to 3 days because there are a lot of emails coming in. So we don't put 2000. No. Your username is 000 and then the student ID. That's the username. The password, if you've never logged in, is student, all lowercase, 2019. I'm putting it in the chat right now. 2019. Okay, all lowercase. So it's 000 student ID. I'm putting 1 2 3 4 5 6 as an example. And the password to get into the student portal, again, make sure it says student portal at the top. And then you can go ahead and put student 2019. And if you're still having issues, definitely go ahead and log into and go ahead and send an email to er-data. I'm putting the email in the chat, ercsd.org. Okay, so that is, what are you referring to as students? Oh, your child's building. So if you have any, if you're trying to get specific schedule questions, or if you're trying to get supplies questions, just call your child's building where they go to school, and they'll be able to give you more information. If your student portal is locked, yes, you can send it to er/data at ercsd.org. Let's see. If you do not have a student ID, you contact er-data at ercsd.org. They will email you the student ID for your child. Let's see.
There was one question a couple of minutes ago about Chromebooks and if they're different for different districts. There are some differences. Everything we were looking at was specific to your district.
Yes.
So when you're logged in with your district account, those are the items you see on the shelf. Those are the applications, the bookmarks, the extensions that you see, but that is different in different districts. But everything in the slideshow that you were seeing, except for some of the very generic screenshots, but everything we were talking about and looking at today is specific to your district.
Okay. So there is a difference between your Google account and your student portal. What I was giving you guys was your student portal information. So the 000 is your student portal. The password for your email is going to be your lunch ID or your, it's either going to be the lunch ID or password 1, depending on what grade level your child is in. I hope that answers your question, Claudie. I do see your questions. Okay, so locked, you have to contact er-data. Non-existent, you have to contact er-data. Confused about the password for your email. If you're logging into your Google account, it's first initial, last initial. You're gonna put the last 6 digits of the student ID at ercsd.org. And then you're gonna put their ID number as the password. If it's K3, I think it's just password 1. All lowercase. About the Chromebooks, your buildings are gonna go ahead and let you guys know exactly the distribution plans for that. So just look out for communications from your buildings. They are gonna be getting in touch with you in the next few days. Juan Carlos, you can go ahead and email er-data, and we can go ahead and give you specific steps to help you. Fausto, I can log into student portal. Oh, good. Okay. Claudie, so you just have to make sure she's using her first initial, which would be L, if that's her first name, last initial, her student ID, which would be her lunch number at ercsd.org, and then it would be her lunch for her password, and that's for her Google account. For her student portal account, it'll be 000. What are you referring to as students building? The students building is their school that they go to. That's the school that they go to. Oh, you can't log in. Okay, so Fausto, definitely send an email to er-data, and they will give you specific information about how to log in. So we're gonna go ahead and close this meeting now because it is now 7:09. But again, the questions about the Chromebooks, your buildings will get in touch with you. er-data at ercsd.org will give you more information on how to be able to get into the portal and your Google accounts a little bit more step by step. We also are creating a sheet for parents to be able to see everything in one sheet on how to do all these logins. I know it can be a little confusing, but we want to make sure that you guys feel supported and have all the help that you need. And thank you. I'm going to figure it out. Well, we're here to support you. So if you need any help, Claudie, please do not hesitate to send an email to us. We will definitely get back to you. And let's see, next week, please come by next week for the next professional development for parents. Definitely come and continue to learn about how to be able to use these devices to be able to support your child, whether they're in hybrid learning or in remote learning. We want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable as parents and as guardians to be able to support your child's education, no matter which learning style or learning environment that you guys have chosen for your child to be in. We want to make sure you feel good about it and that you feel supported and that you can come to us if you guys need any help when it comes to be able to helping your child. So definitely look into the next 4 sessions. We're going to keep on going with this family university and make sure that everyone is well equipped. Thank you so much to the EdTech team for being able to help us out with this professional development and the next coming ones, and also to Ms. Lisa Perry, who did give the student portal overview at the beginning of the session. We thank you guys for the support, and we thank all the families of East Ramapo for being able to be here and supporting your child. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Bye guys, thank you so much.